Now the worst response I've ever got is, "We don't do discounts." That's the worst, and that's happened a couple of times. The vast majority of times, if it's a no, the other person will politely and respectfully say, "Well, we don't do discounts." Okay, that's fine. But I reckon more than half the time I get a yes. How to ask for a discount. Now, I don't know about you, but the majority of people I've ever spoken to about discounts would rather do pretty much anything except say to somebody, "Could I have it at a better price, please?" People will do literally anything to avoid asking for a discount, but in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 different situations where you can safely and respectfully ask for a discount, and you're probably going to get a yes, I reckon, more than half the time. So I'm going to dive into this video in just a moment, but I'm going to give you an example of how to ask for a discount in person, online, and on the phone. Let's get started. Do us a favour, can you like and subscribe? Thanks. Before we jump into the 3 situations where you can ask for discounts, let's just take a moment to figure out why it is that so many of us find it difficult. There's something awkward, isn't there, about saying, "Can you give us a better price?" or "Could I pay slightly less?" But what I need you to understand is that if you ask for a discount and the other person says yes, you've kind of made a little bit of money. Now, I know you've had to spend that money to make it, but just consider, if you could ask for just a couple of 3 discounts each month on things that you regularly have to buy, maybe you could save £50 a month. That's £600 a year. And if you're telling me you don't need £600 a year, you don't need this video. So most often when I talk to people about asking for discounts, the big worry is, how will the other person respond? Well, I can tell you, I have asked in literally all situations for a better price. And by the way, I always use that phrase, better price, rather than discount. It just seems a little bit easier for the other person to take. Now the worst response I've ever got is, "We don't do discounts." That's the worst, and that's happened a couple of times. The vast majority of times, if it's a no, the other person will politely and respectfully say, "Well, we don't do discounts." Okay, that's fine. But I reckon more than half the time I get a yes. So what's the worst that could happen? You might get a no, you could well get a yes. So the first situation when you could be asking for a discount is in person. Now this could be in a market or a car boot, but it could also be in a retail situation, in a shop or in a garage forecourt. So here's the process I use. Once we get to the item that I want to buy, I let the person who's dealing with the sale just summarise all of the key points for me. Well, it does this, it does this, it does this. And at some point they're going to ask for the order. They're going to say something like, "So, do you want to go ahead on that basis then?" So this is where you follow the process. Now the first thing to do is to look straight at the item, not at the person. And what I want you to do at this stage is pause for an uncomfortably long period of time. Now an uncomfortably long period of time is literally only 3, 4, 5 seconds. And what will happen is this will disrupt the pattern. Up until now, the conversation has been free-flowing. They've been saying things, you've been asking questions, they've been telling you the answers, and it's all felt quite natural. So the salesperson has built a rapport with you in their mind. So this is the first thing you're going to do, is to disrupt that. And you're not going to say anything. You're just going to look straight at the item. You're then going to say something like, "Yeah, I was kind of looking for a better price." You then keep looking at the item, glance back at the salesperson, and then look back at the item. Now at this stage, one of several things will happen. The salesperson might say, "Okay, what were you looking for?" Or, "We can offer you this discount." Great, you've now started. Or they will say, "Yeah, we don't give discounts." I'll tell you what to say with that in a moment. Or they will say, "Well, we price match." Alternatively, they will offer to go and get somebody else. Now in all of these situations, the outcome's pretty similar. If they offer you the discount, great, you're now talking about a lower price. You've had a success. If they say, "We don't do discounts," or "We always price match," all I want you to say is, while still looking at the item, "I know you price match," or "I know you don't give discounts, but I'm wondering what discount you can give me to buy this right now." That's it. This will also disrupt the pattern for the salesperson. At this stage, they're often now into slightly uncomfortable territory. This is the point at which they will probably go and get somebody else. When When they come back, you just recycle that same conversation. I'll tell you something, this doesn't work in real life. I mean, it's all very well coming out with the whole, oh, ask for a discount, but I tell you what you're forgetting is that somebody has to pay for those items. What's more, whilst you're there busy going, I know you don't give discounts, but what discount can you give me? You're forgetting that that poor soul in the shop has to listen to you. I mean, to be honest, I think it's terrible. I think all prices ought to be fixed by the government. That way, no one asks for discounts, we all know where we are, the price on the label is the price you pay. Is that so difficult to understand? I think not. The second situation where you can ask for discounts is online. Now, I most often use platforms like eBay, Shpock, Depop, and these all allow you to message the seller and have a conversation before you actually buy the item. And this is a great chance to go for a discount. So here's the process I use. The first thing I do is get a conversation going, and I ask the seller lots of questions where I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be yes. How do I know the answer is going to be yes? Because they've already said the information that I'm asking about in the description of the item. So why do you do that? Well, what you're looking to do is to build some online rapport with the seller. Now, most people will do this with just saying things like, is this still for sale? Or do you have instructions? And it's quite brutal. What you're going to do is to be very polite, very friendly, very personable, and you're looking to get the other person to start to feel comfortable with you. And it's important that you respond to their messages pretty much instantly, as quick as you can. So I'm going to message them and say, do you have the full set of instructions for this? Do you have the whole packaging? Is this the original, whatever it is, of this particular model? And key at this stage also is to use lots of praise and admiration. This is a really nice example of, oh, I really like this, you've really kept it well. All of this is building that rapport with the other person. There comes a point at which they're going to say, so are you interested in making an offer? Now, this is the point at which you're going to use a bit of a digital pause, a bit like when you're doing this live. So you're not going to respond to this immediately. You're going to leave it slightly longer. When you do respond, you're going to say something like, what's the best price you would be able to take for me to buy this right now? Now, this puts it firmly back into their court. They're either going to go, that's the price, yes or no, or they're going to offer you a discount. Brilliant, you can now go from there. Or they're going to invite you to name a price. But in all those situations, you've done it very politely and they have given you the opportunity to name a lower price. I've done that strategy loads of times and it works very, very well. The third situation where you can ask for a discount is on the phone. And often people say to me that this feels a little bit old-fashioned, out of date. I mean, yeah, you might buy face-to-face, you're probably going to buy online. Why would you ever bother to pick up the phone? Here's the reason. You can get some great discounts when you buy on the phone, because you can actually speak with the other person and you can start to help them understand your reasons for wanting a discount. So pretty similar to some of the skills you learned in the first two situations. What you're going to do is to get into a conversation with the person and get them to tell you all of the benefits of the item or the service you're paying for. You're going to get them to recap everything and you're going to make a few comments along the lines of, yeah, that sounds good, that does sound right. And at some point they're going to say, so, do you want to go ahead on that basis? And this is where you employ that uncomfortable silence. Now on the phone, that will feel really awkward for the other person. Remember, they're often in a timed call situation. They're in a call center. So staying quiet even for 3 or 4 seconds will disrupt that pattern for them. At that point, you're then going to do a little bit of acting. Yeah, it sounds okay, but I was hoping for a better price. And that's it. Don't say anything else. Don't say, if that's okay, I'm not being rude, could I have a discount? You stop at a better price. At that point, the other person will often say something like, let me see what I can do. You'll hear a bit of tapping away on the keyboards, and a minute or less later, they'll come back with a better price. It's up to you then whether you accept that price or ask again for another discount. So there you have it, 3 situations where you can ask for discounts. And as I said, I reckon you'll get a yes more than half of the time. that's got to be worth doing, right? Even if it feels slightly awkward asking for a discount, just keep in mind, every time somebody gives you £10 off a price, that's £10 in your pocket that you would have had to go out and earn and replace. It's now safely in your pocket where it needs to be. So there you have it, 3 simple situations where you can ask for a discount. And listen, I know it feels a bit awkward. I know it feels a little bit embarrassing asking for a better price. But the worst that will happen is they say no. And the best that will happen is you will keep hold of some of your hard-earned money. And remember, even if it just takes you 30 seconds to ask and you keep hold of £10, $10, €10, that stays in your pocket rather than going to somebody else. You have to go out and earn that money. So keep hold of it as long as you can. And if you try some of these and if they work for you, let me know how you get on in the comments.